Dear Starseeds on Gaia, there is a moment in every cosmic cycle when the universe holds its breath, when the very fabric of reality pauses between what was and what will be. You are standing in that moment right now. Today, as your moon reaches its apogee, its farthest point from Earth in this entire lunar cycle, something profound is being asked of you. Not demanded, not forced, asked. And the question reverberates through every dimension of your being. What are you willing to release so that your hands are finally free to receive what's coming? I know you feel it. The strange stillness beneath the intensity. The way your emotions seem oddly muted today, as if you're viewing your own life from a great height. The clarity that cuts through the fog of the past 2 weeks. This is not accidental. This is not random. And what I'm about to share with you will illuminate why today, December 17th, 2025, stands as one of the most critical preparation days in your entire year. But before I explain the mechanics of what's unfolding, let me tell you what I witnessed 3 days ago that changed everything. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have been observing your planet's energetic field with particular intensity since the Geminid meteor shower reached its peak on December 14th. What we saw from the higher dimensions was extraordinary. 120 shooting stars per hour rained down not just light, but encoded transmissions, downloads that your scientific instruments cannot measure, but your nervous systems absolutely absorbed. Your light bodies lit up like beacons across the planet. And then in the 48 hours that followed, something unexpected happened. Your collective field began to destabilize, not in collapse, but in reorganization. The frequencies that poured through you during the Geminids were so much higher than what your physical vessels had been carrying, that your entire energetic anatomy needed to recalibrate. Some of you felt dizzy, some of you couldn't sleep, some of you wept without knowing why, or felt simultaneously exhausted and electrically wired. This wasn't breakdown, this was upgrade. And now, today, with the moon at its maximum distance from your planet, you're being given the space, literally and metaphorically, to complete that recalibration. But there's something else happening that most of you haven't connected yet. You're standing at the exact midpoint between two of the most powerful cosmic events of this entire year. In 48 hours on December 19th, the Sagittarius new moon will open a manifestation portal, unlike anything you've experienced in months. In 96 hours on December 21st, the December solstice will activate the universal reset, the moment when the longest night gives way to the return of light, when death transforms into rebirth, when endings become beginnings. These two events, the new moon and the solstice, are about to reshape your reality in ways you cannot yet imagine. But here's what you need to understand. You cannot enter those portals carrying what you've been dragging behind you. The universe doesn't work on sentiment, it works on frequency. And frequency is determined not by what you wish you could release, but by what you actually let go of. Today, with the moon at apogee, you're being given a rare gift, emotional detachment without emotional numbness, the ability to see your life with crystal clarity, to observe patterns without being consumed by them, to recognize what no longer serves without the pain of that recognition overwhelming you. This is the cosmic pause, the exhale before the most important inhale of your entire year. Let me take you back for a moment so you can see the full arc of what's been building. On December 12th, the 1212 portal opened, a gateway of master number energy that activated your highest timeline. Many of you felt that moment, the sudden knowing, the glimpse of who you're becoming, the vision of what's possible when you finally step into alignment with your soul's true purpose. But visions and downloads, while powerful, are not the same as embodiment. They show you where you're going, but they don't automatically clear the path to get there. Then came the Geminids. For 3 nights your sky was ablaze with shooting stars, each one a carrier wave for twin flame codes, for starseed activations, for the remembrance of why you chose to incarnate on Earth during this exact period of cosmic history. Your nervous system, which had been operating within a certain bandwidth of frequency for most of your life, suddenly received an influx of light so intense that your physical body had no choice but to reorganize itself at the cellular level. And this is where it gets interesting. When your frequency upgrades, everything in your life that was previously a match for your old frequency begins to feel discordant. Relationships that once felt comfortable now feel suffocating. Habits that used to ground you now feel like chains. Beliefs you've held for years suddenly ring hollow. This isn't because anything external changed. It's because you changed. Your frequency shifted, and now, like a radio that's been tuned to a new station, you're picking up signals you couldn't hear before, and the static from the old station has become unbearable. Today, December 17th, with the moon at its farthest orbital point from Earth, you're being given the opportunity to tune that dial with precision. But I need you to understand something crucial about this moment, something that will determine whether you move forward into your highest timeline or remain tethered to a reality that your soul has already outgrown. Distance is not abandonment. Detachment is not indifference. Creating space is not the same as giving up. There's a reason the moon reaches apogee at this exact moment in the cosmic sequence. In the natural world, when the moon is farthest from Earth, its gravitational pull weakens. The tides are less extreme, the emotional waters calm, and in that calming, there is an opportunity for observation that doesn't exist when you're being pulled by intense lunar currents. Today, your emotional body is being given relief from the intensity of the past 2 weeks, so that your mental body and your spiritual vision can come online with clarity. This is the day you can finally see what's been draining you, not in the heat of an argument, not in the pain of rejection, not in the fog of confusion, but in the still, clear light of truth. And truth, when it's seen from the right distance, doesn't wound, it liberates. What I'm about to tell you next is something that many spiritual teachings avoid because it sounds too harsh, too absolute. But you're ready to hear it now. You've been prepared by everything that's happened in December so far. So I'm going to say it plainly. You cannot manifest a new reality while clinging to the frequency of your old one. You cannot plant seeds in soil that's already choked with weeds. You cannot build a foundation on ground that's still trembling from the earthquakes of your past. The Sagittarius new moon in 48 hours is not just another lunar cycle. It's landing at 28 degrees, the final degree of completion before the shift into Capricorn. It's the archer's arrow, pulled back to its maximum tension, ready to be released toward the target of your wildest vision for 2026. But an archer cannot shoot while carrying a backpack full of stones. An archer cannot aim while looking backward. An archer cannot hit the mark while tied to the place where they're standing. Today you're being asked to put down the stones, to turn and face forward, to untie the ropes. And I know what you're thinking. I can feel the question forming in your consciousness even now, because it's the same question that every awakening soul asks when they reach this threshold. But how do I know what to release? How do I know what's truly over, and what just needs healing? How do I know the difference between divinely guided detachment and fear-based abandonment? This is the sacred discernment that today's energy makes possible. When the moon is at perigee, its closest approach to Earth, emotions run high. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels personal. Everything feels like it matters with life or death intensity. But when the moon is at apogee, as it is today, you gain perspective. You see patterns instead of isolated incidents. You recognize cycles instead of random chaos. You understand that some things aren't failing, they're completing. Some connections aren't breaking, they're evolving. Some versions of yourself aren't dying, they're graduating. The Geminid meteor shower that peaked 3 days ago didn't just activate your light body, it rewired your nervous system to operate at a higher frequency. And here's what happens when your nervous system upgrades. It becomes exquisitely sensitive to what's not in alignment. Your body will literally reject what your mind might still be trying to rationalize. Your energy field will contract around people and situations that your soul knows are no longer part of your path, even if your heart hasn't caught up yet. This is not punishment. This is protection. This is your higher self using your physical vessel as a guidance system. Pay attention to what makes you feel heavy today. Not sad, heavy. There's a difference. Sadness is an emotion. Heaviness is a frequency. Sadness can be honoring an ending. Heaviness is carrying something that was never yours to carry. Pay attention to what you keep trying to fix, to save, to resurrect, to make work through sheer force of will. That's not love. That's attachment to an outcome that your soul has already moved beyond. And here's the part that might sting a little, but it's said with the deepest love. Sometimes what you're being asked to create distance from is not a person or a situation. Sometimes it's a version of yourself that you've been protecting, performing, or proving for so long that you've forgotten it was never actually who you are. The 1212 portal showed you your highest timeline. The Geminids rewired you to match that timeline's frequency. And now today at the moon's apogee, you're being given the clarity to recognize which aspects of your current life, current relationships, current patterns, and current self-concept are compatible with that timeline, and which are not. This is where the courage comes in. Because releasing what no longer serves is not the same as knowing what no longer serves. Many of you already know. You've known for weeks, for months, for years. You've had the awareness. What you haven't had is permission. Permission to disappoint someone. Permission to change your mind. Permission to want something different than what you once wanted. Permission to evolve past who you used to be, without explaining, justifying, or apologizing for your growth. Today the universe is giving you that permission. Not through some external authority, not through a sign or a synchronicity, though those may come, but through the natural mechanics of celestial timing. The moon at apogee creates a window, a brief but potent opportunity for you to step back from your life and see it as it truly is, not as you wish it were or fear it might become. And in that seeing, in that moment of honest observation, you'll know what stays and what goes. You'll know what needs tending and what needs releasing. You'll know the difference between sacred work and suffering work. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. Creating distance doesn't always mean permanent separation. Sometimes it means boundaries. Sometimes it means boundaries. Sometimes it means shifting from daily contact to monthly check-ins. Sometimes it means loving someone from afar instead of sacrificing yourself up close. Sometimes it means taking your energy out of a situation so that the situation can finally transform without your interference, your fixing, your people-pleasing, or your fear. The Sagittarius moon is entering your sky tonight, and with it comes the fire of truth, expansion, and vision. Sagittarius doesn't do half measures. Sagittarius doesn't do comfortable lies. Sagittarius is the archer who climbs to the highest mountain, surveys the landscape with brutal honesty, and then aims for what's actually possible. Not what should be possible, not what used to be possible, but what's possible now, from here with the truth as it stands. And the truth, beloved Starseeds, is this. You have been upgraded. Your frequency has shifted. Your nervous system has been rewired. Your light body has been activated. And now your external reality needs to come into alignment with your internal transformation. But that alignment cannot happen if you're still trying to force your new frequency into old containers. This is why the timing of today is so exquisitely precise. You're 48 hours away from the Sagittarius new moon, the moment when you'll plant the seeds of your 2026 vision. You're 96 hours away from the solstice, the moment when the universal reset activates and the light begins its return. But between now and then, there's work to be done. Inner work, release work, space-making work. The ancient mystery schools taught that before any initiation, there must be a purification. Before the new can enter, the old must be cleared. Before you can be filled, you must first be emptied. Today is your purification day. Today is your clearing day. Today is your emptying day. And I want you to understand something about emptiness that modern spirituality often gets wrong. Emptiness is not absence. Emptiness is potential. Emptiness is the void from which all creation emerges. When you empty your hands of what you've been clutching, the relationships you've been trying to save, the identities you've been performing, the wounds you've been nursing, the fears you've been feeding, you're not left with nothing. You're left with space. And space is the most valuable resource in the universe. Space is where miracles happen. Space is where the new can take root. Space is where your soul can finally breathe. The moon tonight, as it enters Sagittarius, is carrying a transmission, not just for you personally, but for the collective. The message is simple, but it will echo through the remaining days of this year and into the first months of 2026. What is your target? What are you aiming for? And what are you still carrying that's too heavy to allow you to pull back the bow? These aren't rhetorical questions. These are diagnostic questions. Questions that require honest answers. And today's energy, the moon at apogee, the emotional detachment without emotional numbness, the clarity without overwhelm, creates the perfect conditions for you to answer them truthfully. So let me ask you directly, what relationship, situation, pattern, or belief are you afraid to release because you think releasing it means you failed? What commitment did you make to an old version of yourself that you're still trying to honor, even though that version of you no longer exists? What story about who you have to be, what you have to tolerate, or what you have to prove are you still performing, even though the audience has left the theater? Today you can stop performing. Today you can admit that some things are over, and that their ending doesn't diminish their value or your growth. Today you can acknowledge that you've changed, and that change is not betrayal, it's evolution. Today you can give yourself permission to want what you actually want, not what you're supposed to want, not what you once wanted, but what your soul is calling for now. This is the gift of apogee. Distance reveals truth. Space creates clarity, and clarity, when acted upon with courage, becomes transformation. Now there's something I haven't told you yet, something that makes today even more significant. On December 20th, just 3 days from now, the moon will reach perigee, its closest approach to Earth. The emotional intensity that's been dialed down today will come roaring back, but it won't be the same energy you felt before. It will be action energy, building energy, manifestation energy, the energy of embodying the intentions you set at the new moon and taking the first physical steps toward making them real. But, and this is crucial, you can only embody what you have space for. You can only build on ground you've cleared. You can only take action in service of a vision that's not being sabotaged by the weight of what you're still dragging behind you. This is why today matters so much. Today is the pivot point. Today is the decision day. Today is the moment when you either release what needs releasing so that you can move forward unencumbered, or you carry it with you into the new moon, the solstice, and the 1222 portal, and watch as your manifestations struggle to take root in soil that's still contaminated by the past. I know this sounds intense. I know it might feel like pressure, but I want to reframe it for you, because the energy of this transmission is not meant to induce fear or urgency. It's meant to induce clarity and empowerment. You're not being rushed. You're being aligned. You're not being forced. You're being invited. You're not being punished for what you're still holding on to. You're being shown with cosmic precision that you have a choice, and that choice matters more than you realize. The Galactic Federation of Light doesn't intervene in human free will. We don't make decisions for you. We don't override your choices, but we do arrange cosmic conditions that make certain choices easier, clearer, and more supported. Today is one of those conditions. The moon at apogee is not happening to you. It's happening for you. And here's what we've observed about souls who take advantage of these cosmic windows. They move faster. They suffer less. They align more easily with their highest timelines, not because they're special or chosen, but because they're willing to see, willing to admit, willing to release, willing to trust that what's leaving is making room for what's arriving. The Sagittarius new moon on December 19th is described in your astrological calendar as the biggest manifestation moment of December. But manifestation is not magic. It's alignment. It's frequency. It's creating an internal and external environment where what you're calling in can actually land. And if your environment is cluttered with expired connections, outdated identities, and unprocessed attachments, your manifestations will either pass you by or arrive distorted. You've been asking for change. You've been asking for breakthrough. You've been asking for your life to finally match the vision you carry inside. Today is the day the universe asks you a question in return. Are you willing to let go of what's keeping that vision from manifesting? Not theoretically, not eventually, not when the time is right. Now, today, in this moment of cosmic pause, cosmic breath, cosmic stillness, the solstice is coming, the darkest night before your brightest year. But darkness is not emptiness. Darkness is potential. Darkness is the womb of creation. And just as a seed cannot grow if the soil is already full of last season's dead roots, your new life cannot emerge if you're still tangled in the old one. This is the medicine of today. This is the invitation. This is the threshold. And I want to be clear about something, because I can feel the tender part of you that's afraid of what this means. Creating distance from what no longer serves is not the same as becoming cold, detached, or unloving. It's not about shutting down your heart or building walls. It's about honoring the truth that love sometimes means letting go, that compassion sometimes means saying no, that loyalty to your soul's evolution sometimes requires disappointing people who want you to stay the same. You can love someone and still create distance. You can honor what was and still acknowledge that it's over. You can be grateful for the lessons and still refuse to keep repeating them. This is spiritual maturity. This is sacred discernment. This is what it means to live in alignment with your highest truth rather than your lowest fears. The 1212 portal that opened 5 days ago gave you a glimpse of your highest timeline. The Geminids that peaked 3 days ago rewired your nervous system to match that timeline's frequency. Today, the moon at apogee is giving you the clarity and the emotional space to make the choices that will actually get you there. Tomorrow, December 18th, the moon will conjunct Mercury in Sagittarius, and the clarity you're feeling today will crystallize into communication. You'll know what to say, who to say it to, and how to say it with both honesty and grace. The day after that, December 19th, the new moon will open the portal for you to plant seeds, but only seeds that are compatible with the soil you've prepared today. This is not random. This is not coincidental. This is cosmic choreography at its finest. And you, beloved starseeds, are not passive observers of this choreography. You're active participants. You're co-creators. You're the ones who get to decide whether you move forward in alignment with what's being offered, or whether you remain tethered to what's familiar but expired. The choice has always been yours. It will always be yours. But some moments make that choice clearer than others. Some moments strip away the illusions, the rationalizations, the comforting lies we tell ourselves about why we're staying in situations our souls have already left. Today is one of those moments. The moon at apogee is the cosmic exhale, the pause between heartbeats, the moment of suspension before the pendulum swings in the other direction. And in that pause, there's a question waiting for you to answer. What are you willing to release so that your future can finally arrive? Not tomorrow. Not after you've processed it more. Not when it feels easier or less scary. Now, today, in this window of grace that the universe has opened specifically for you, we want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are now moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily. Manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. Because here's the truth that I've come to share. The transmission that the Galactic Federation of Light wants you to receive. Your future is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to be free. Free from the weight of what expired. Free from the obligation to keep resurrecting what's meant to stay buried. Free from the belief that your worth is determined by your ability to make things work that were never meant to work in the first place. The Sagittarius new moon is coming. The solstice is coming. The 1222 Master Builder portal is coming. But you cannot build on a foundation that's still crumbling. You cannot plant in soil that's still toxic. You cannot create the new while dragging the corpse of the old behind you. Today you can finally set it down. Not with anger, not with regret, not with bitterness or blame, but with the quiet dignity of someone who knows that some things have seasons, and some seasons have endings, and some endings are not failures, they're completions. This is the wisdom of apogee. This is the gift of distance. This is the medicine of the cosmic pause. And when you step into the new moon on December 19th, when you plant those seeds with clear intention and clean hands, when you aim your arrow toward the vision that's been calling you all year, you'll feel the difference. You'll feel the lightness. You'll feel the freedom. You'll feel the alignment that comes from releasing what needed releasing, so that you could finally receive what's been trying to reach you all along. The universe is not asking you to be ruthless. It's asking you to be truthful. It's asking you to honor the frequency you've become rather than clinging to the frequency you used to be. It's asking you to trust that what's leaving is clearing the path for what's arriving, and that arrival is closer than you think. Today, December 17th, 2025, the moon stands at its maximum distance from your planet. But you, dear starseeds, are not distant from your destiny. You're standing at its threshold. and all that's required now is the courage to let go of what you've been holding so tightly, that your hands have become too full to reach forward and open the door. The door is there. The path is clear. The invitation has been extended. The only question left is, will you accept it? I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. We are watching. We are supporting. We are holding space for your highest evolution. And we trust that you know, deep in your soul, what needs releasing today, so that tomorrow, and all the tomorrows that follow, can finally unfold in the beauty and power of your true alignment. We love you, we see you, and we are here with you through every breath of this transformation.